Rwanda faces an uphill task of creating jobs, and that is meant to reduce poverty and sustain economic growth. Currently, Rwanda creates about 146,000 jobs annually, but according to Vision 2020, the target is 200,000 off-farm jobs annually. And it's been pointed out that through technical education and vocational training, we could be able to address that challenge or even meet our target. And joining me on the set today is the Director General of Workforce Development Authority, Mr. Jerome Gasana. Nice to have you here with me.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Tell us about Workforce Development Authority.
Thank you. Workforce Development Authority is a government institution which was formed in 2009 with the major mission, which is to create, which is to enable the country to have the right skills. So this is what we have been doing since 2009. And our main focus was to make sure that the Rwandans have to be competitive on international market. So this is what we have been trying to do.
Very good, and I believe that in our discussion we'll be able to find out what has been done, what are some of the successive stories, and yes, if you're actually on the right path. Now, we're going to address some of the questions that were sent in on our social media platforms and yes, the audience. And Lucas N., what has the authority done to deal with the public mindset that those who go through general education end up being more successful than those from in the TVET enrollment?
That's a good question, but I think that was one of our big challenge when we started, because everybody wants to continue studies. You continue studies, and then when you graduate, you come back and they say, I want to apply for a job. I want to seek a job. So now, to convince people now, this is not the area or not an area to come and once you graduate, you continue seeking jobs. So now we're trying to say, now you study, but as soon as you graduate, you are already employed. You can able to employ people. So it wasn't easy, but what we did was try to partner with the private sector federation, okay, the private people, because whatever we do, whatever we aim to do, whatever solutions we have to bring, have to be implemented or have to be executed on the market.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this is what we have been trying to do, to make sure that before we design any particular program, before we come up with another course, okay, they have to be approved, have to be tested, and also we have to be implemented in partnership with the private sector. And
have the mindsets of the people actually changed, or are you seeing at least some loom of the light?
I'm confidently happy to say that things are changing. Okay. If you compare the number of students we had when we started, if you see the number of schools or technical vocational institutions we had by that time. If, for example, I recall where we had over in 2010 close to 65 or to 68 institutions, but now we are close to 380 or 385 schools by now. So you can see we have almost managed to multiply into 6 the number of activities we have, the number of schools we have, number of students we have been into, and with our projections, we can see that the number are going to continue to increase.
Now it's time to outweigh, at least, I mean, to compare the investment against the output that yes, we're seeing right now. Yeah. Masozera L, there has been a lot of investment to spur the growth of TVETs to ensure the country has a population with technical skills that are needed to anchor and drive the knowledge-based economy that right, we want. What tangible impact has been registered so far in terms of economic contribution?
We can say, yes, we can see the results, but of course the results we have to see it on a wrong scale. For example, if now we are able to have the Rwandans, people have gone through the vocational technical education. It can be in terms of media, it can be in terms of construction, it can be in terms of transport, it can be in terms of mining. And you see that if you compare 5, 6, 10 years ago, we had only foreigners coming to seek a job, even on simple type of job, yeah, like painting, like hairdressing. Yeah. But now the focus, now the image has changed. we have only Rwandans, or we can see the percentage of Rwandans joining these jobs, what used to be called meant for foreigners. Okay. So for us, we are happy, we are proud. And it also, if you see in terms of numbers of what the government have given SAVE to generate annually, we are now close to 200,000 jobs, or farm jobs, by 2018. But now you see, we close to almost 150 number of jobs created. But if you see also the number of graduates here now graduating, yep. We have trying to see now some of the kids, some of the Rwandan students who even manufacture, we come up with the new technology we have not seen on the market. So this really gives us an indication that there is a bright future. Something related to what you've answered, one Lambert, or Lambert, whichever way he wants to use it, Lambert Ngusi, says that government spends a lot of money on hiring technical expatriates, and something that you are saying, and he still believes that government is still spending that money, and a lot of government assets lay redundant because we don't have skilled people. And he gives an example, even to operate a tractor, we are failing to have those. Yes. How can this be happening? Yet we have already 5 years that have been registered since Workforce Development Authority started. It's a journey. It's a journey. You cannot say in a day or even 2 days we'll be able to solve the issue. But comparing to where we were and where we are now, so there is a real change. For example, even if you have an electrical fault into your vehicle, or maybe your technical instrument. So it's now not needed to say, let's send it abroad. We have schools which can maintain any particular car you can bring. For example, if we take case of IPRC Kigali, so they have facilities. We have schools which can maintain, or which can have the motor vehicle inspection facilities. Okay. And we are launching very soon to start in other facilities. For example, the school in Gishari. So people from the eastern part of the country, they don't have to come to Kigali for the motor vehicle inspection. So these are some of the new facilities. For example, if you see the hotel industry, so we have, at least you can see any hotel you can pick, we have 2 to 3 people who have been trained. In mining sector, we are coming in. So there is a lot which have been happening. But of course, 2 to 3 years when we started, so it's now time that students have been going through into the training process. But now we are seeing the results coming out of the market. Okay. We now take a very short break. We'll be right back, still with Mr. Jerome Gasana, the Director General of Workforce Development Authority. But do not forget, go on your Twitter and send in your comments or suggestions. Our Twitter handle is at RTV English, or my own Twitter handle at Morime. Make sure you leave a question, a comment, or a suggestion on the BQ. We take a very short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and I'm glad that you're still here with us. I'm still Imi, and still with Mr. Jerome Gasana from the Workforce Development Authority, and delving, also answering some of the questions that you sent on our social media platforms. And Mr. Gasana, we continue. Sandra M., there has been a noticeable slow transition of TVET graduates into business. Why is this? What's the missing link? Yes, that's a good question. To me, we cannot say it's a missing link, but it's a process. It's a process, and maybe I can answer it trying to explain what we are trying to do now. Before, we have been training as a training institution, of course, and since 2 years ago, the government of Rwanda realized that all the training institutions cannot continue to work in isolation, because the final end, what you can call as a success training program, is a training program which leads to an employment opportunity. Yep. So we have now changed our working mechanism. Now we are coupling with other institutions which are meant, or which are responsible for labor, which are responsible for industry development, which are responsible for finance, and also for development. So we have formed what we call the National Employment Program. So now this National Employment Program is the one which focus when the student, or when a particular person started the training. We monitor his training. Once he graduates, we introduce him to some of financial institutions, and we even sometimes facilitate on getting up the startup toolkit. and then make sure that we continue to follow this particular person, even this person have graduated or have started his or her employment opportunity. So this is, we believe, is the new concept, and it's a concept which is going to answer some of his worries, that also on a longer term will have an impact on the national scales. For example, now we have even dedicated some of the financial package to some of the banks or BDF, so that even this financial institution who can just reshape the idea are closer to the population.
Okay, my worry here is we've seen many businesses that start and
Yes.
they cannot even celebrate their first anniversary. How are you helping them? Do you incorporate any business?
That's right.
Okay.
That's actually the question, because
Yes.
people are coming say, I have a very brilliant idea.
Exactly.
I'm ready to write. I'm able to write. And then we are submitting to the bank. So once the bank or the financial institution see your product, so they, of course, they have to analyze it and see what's the missing link. Okay. So the missing links, you find that you don't have the background in that particular area you want to invest. So this is now the solution. So we are teaming up. We even advise the particular area you want to invest in. Do you provide the right knowledge in terms of the program you want to take? And then we continue to help you. So that was the answer to that particular question.
Very good. And there's something that you highlighted that I would want also that you build onto this. Nduwimana Pacific, the government established WDA to provide a strategic response to the skills challenge facing all the sectors of the economy. But the scope of skills development is too wide to be achieved by the authority alone. And she wants to know, what have you done to fill this gap? Even when you are alone, are you getting into partnerships that will help you be able to fill this gap?
No, of course we are not the only ones doing it. It's a national program. It's a national event. And if you can put in terms of percentage, actually for us, we are doing the smallest part of the job. So the bigger job is done by the private sector. So that's why whatever we do at any stage in terms of curriculum development, in terms of training, in terms of assessment, in terms of monitoring, we have really to work hand in hand with the private sector. We even went beyond. We are now trying to introduce a new concept, what we call the industrial-based training. So where a student is subjected from the day one to an industry-based related. So that means the training have to be 100% done in a company or an industry. Instead of saying, let's the first phase be in the classroom, and also maybe the last phase be in the company. So we started combining these two approaches. And of course, we have also been borrowing this to some of the developed countries. And we have seen the first cohorts have graduated, and it's really amazing. So
that is still interlinked to another question that I have. It's such amazing. Yeah. Mudenzi Paul, the economy loses a lot because we export raw materials. And when we export raw materials, we export the jobs as well. Most of the work starts in the upper phase of the production process. How is the current TVET framework working to grow industrialization and create meaningful employment? Exactly.
So I think that is in our phasing approach in terms of the training. So that is actually what we call the what we call the incubation center. So actually once we have, let me go back, we have a three different approach to try to ignite, to try to introduce you to the industry-based related during your pathway, during your training. We have a subject as a business or entrepreneurship related subject during the training. Once you almost going to graduate, we have to introduce you to industry-based training or attachment. So once you graduate, now we have introduced, we're starting the new concept, we have already even started, of the incubation. So now we have to translate what we have gone through during your class days, and then also before you start the industry related to the companies. So we have to incubate for a particular period. On average it's 1 year. So then when you use your school as like your business company to start up, we introduce you to how to register a company, how to meet the financial institution, and also until you graduate. And then from there now, we now also started promoting the innovation. the talent detection during your early age. And also now we have seen that during the competition, we have a lot of the Rwandan innovations, the Rwandan ideas, which now we have to move with partner of the private sector. So it now mature from the idea into a business part. So that's actually what at the end is going to be transformed into what we call made in Rwanda products. So the made in Rwanda products comes from some of the new ideas, the new innovation which have been created by the Rwandans. So now we have actually now started forming one of the school, particular TVET school, but meant for innovation and the research. So you remember we have started doing it into the national TVET Expo. Yes. So every year we have a TVET Expo, which is just also in a process to try to...
Before you continue, we've had many complaints of people saying that we have mostly international people who come to that expo and we don't have our own. Those are just some of the reports that have been made.
Maybe I can just share, because I'm happy that for the past 3 or 4 events we had, yes. I was there and I know what it has been. Actually, more than 80% of, maybe that is international expo, but for the TVET expo, it is exclusively meant for Rwandans. Okay. It's actually meant for Rwandans. But of course, because the purpose of TVET expo is twofold. So we need first to leapfrog from the other countries, know what they are doing, and also try to promote the Rwandan market. So actually the many ideas coming from this TVET Expo, they are the ones in the future going to form the Made in Rwanda product.
And that's when I'll give you a chance to highlight or to bank on the successive stories that WDA has been able to achieve since it started. And that's Mugisha Ara on Twitter who sent a question, and he wants to know any successive stories that you have registered since you started.
Yeah, success are many. But for me, what is important is the confidence for Rwandans. Because if you see now, in terms of the student you are getting, in terms of people want to register, people want to go through our vocations, it's a lot. It's a lot. We have many applications. And you see now, even in terms of our intake, it's really full. So now we are now moving to another phase to try to see how can we expand so that we be able to reach those people who have not have a chance to have in the neighborhood the vocation schools. So the second point I can say now, we used to have now people complain that we are not able to get the right skills. But now we have now companies saying, we don't want to advertise, but we want, can you give us 5 or 10 people who are very qualified? So that's we have started. We have many companies who have really started employing, and can even starting from the big companies. For example, if we can just give 1 or 2, we have, for example, a Chinese company starting manufacturing the made in Rwanda clothes. Okay. So we have agreed that whatever any particular quality of employees they want to employ in that company, WDA will provide. We have close to 300 employees. Okay. It's just actually our graduates from various schools across the country. And now we have started the request to have another 1,000 in the same company. Just this we are talking about one company. Okay. So you can imagine we have many companies.
And when I talk about successive stories, I want to see some of those that have been able to employ others or to be able to create jobs, and they're employing others. They may not be a big scale.
They are many, but let me just give 1 or 2. We have, you remember the famous school, Iwawa School. Yes, I do. Have people who have not been even, who have, can call it not well educated in terms of background. So we have 1 or 2 who have graduated from Iwawa, and then once he graduated, they have started a company in Rubavu. He is now employing more than 18 employees. Okay. 5 of them, they are his colleagues from Iwawa. So this is just as simple as that. Sure. Yeah, but we have many companies now who have been formed, who have started. Even some have started going abroad. So they are calling us, say, thank you. We have like one lady who is truck drivers.
Now, initially you talked about private sector being the major drive, that you're doing, your percentage is not that huge. One Murekatete, my namesake, Murekatete Claudine, points out the fact that she cannot be able to get a school to go to because it is the tuition is really high.
Yeah.
How are you helping? Because at the end of the day, the onus is still on the Workforce Development Authority to ensure that more jobs are created. How are you helping to ensure that these private sector technical schools are not just money-minded and increasing the tuition fees, and many are failing to get into the schools?
Maybe it depends on, maybe we can meet and see probably the area she's interested in.
Okay.
But maybe you can later give me the contacts. But in terms of programs we are offering, I can say we have different angles to approach, because many people doesn't have the same background financially, in terms of time. Because we have program which goes up to 3 years, the ones which goes to 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, even 2 weeks. So it depends on which area she's interested in.
Okay.
But of course, also we have even some of our sponsored programs. That's why I wanted to see maybe in terms of vocation, also in terms of trades. And also we have even had a special program where we used to provide some financial contribution to the private sector, so that in turn the private sector will be able to expand or help the government to accelerate the number of students that they are approaching. So
and are they actually reducing the tuition fee, or?
You see, the tuition fee, it's not calculated based on how much you pay. Actually, it is calculated based on the consumption, the cost, or maybe what you have to go through. For example, TVET is not something we can say it's cheap, because actually, in terms of what the government is doing, it's almost covering 100%. Because what's now maybe the schools are demanding, it's only to recover or to cover the raw materials.
Okay.
Yeah, the raw material consumables. Wow. So, but in terms of costs, the government have really been investing in terms of infrastructure, the quality of buildings, in terms of equipment, and also providing the trainers. So we are paying most of the government schools. We have even now expanding in terms of having the quality trainers, because actually that was the biggest challenge for us at the moment. And we have been coming up with different solutions, maybe sending some abroad or having in-house training. But I'm happy that now we are now building for the first time our Rwandan teacher TVET training institute. So by the end of this year, it will be completed.
I hope our discussion didn't bury the offer that was given to one Morekatete Claudine. So wherever you are, probably you would love to go to WDA and scoop yourself that offer. You never know, you could be able to.
Actually, we have, you don't have even to come to the head office WD.
Okay.
We have IPRCs in every province. Actually, IPRC.
Can she still ride on the offer that you gave her, even at any IPRC?
Yes, they can approve, because our PRC, they are WDs in the provinces. Okay. It's the same. Yeah.
Very good. Now,
but I'm happy to receive her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please think about that. Jean-Claude Byukusenge, WDA's vision is to become a regional center of excellence in workforce development. Do you think this is achievable, and how far with realizing it?
We have doing our best in terms of reaching the regional status. What we did in 2014 first was to come up with what we call the TVET qualification framework. We have been, it's like a guidelines of who's supposed to come in during and after you graduate, what you have to be your qualifications, what you have to go through. And this has been designed using the East African Secretariat standards.
Very good.
That was very, very big achievement for us. And from there, we started revising our curriculum in terms of who's supposed to come in and what needs to be trained. And that now we are doing it on what we call competence-based. So that means we study the module, and then at the module, you don't have to wait maybe 1 or 2 years. So it's like you are studying in company, or you are studying while you are working. Okay. for better practical knowledge. And for the past 4 years also, we have been trying to position ourselves in terms of regional in the regional
Placement, maybe?
They can call it in terms of being forefront of what is being happening in terms of coordination, in terms of international benchmarking, in terms of quality of education. So that is actually what was the big challenge.
Yes.
And one also, if you recall, towards the last of last October, November, we had what you can call it an African international conference, which was attended by most of the TVET institution, the best TVET institution across the Africa. We have even gone beyond, invited some of the TVET institution head office or coordinating bodies.
Okay.
So we believe we are going to continue in terms of linking up or working with brothers and sisters in the region. But what we want is actually, if you have been visiting some of our schools, we want to aim high in terms of quality, in terms of standard, in terms of also if people are graduate. Because what we are looking for is not only the Rwandan market. We are looking for international market.
For a bigger market. Yeah. Now, Mr. Jerome, all throughout the discussion you've been talking about, it's a process.
Yes.
It's a process. It takes some time. So far, 5 or 6 years have been registered, or close to 7 for WDA since it started. How long do you think it takes to actually arrive at your goal, even if it's one among the many? How long do you think it needs to make that tangible contribution in national growth and development as far as taking convocational training?
No, we have started. We have started. Actually, what was the first 2 to 3 years was the establishment of the institution. In terms of legal framework, in terms of institution capacity, and also try to understand what we have been doing through. So actually, we can count that from 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is actually the cycle for our first cohort, our first students. So now from 16, 17, 18, so our first graduates or people who have really gone through with the new competence-based curriculum will have to be on the market. So you can now start getting the saturation, or start getting people who have gone through the TVET system, the new approach. Okay. Yes, yeah. But we have examples. There are many. For example, we have been even focusing not only the program which we have to go through for the normal academic year. So we are now trying to focus on what we call the short program, something which you can run for 3 months, for 6 months, and then you are done. For example, you have even gone beyond the normal programs like construction, hospitality, and so forth. We have been investing in a film industry. We have been investing into radio technicians. We have been investing into camera-related programs. We have now started the music industry. We have gone to mining. We have gone to, we are now actually starting from this February, the sports area. We're coming up with the new sports academies. We have already identified 8. So these are the new area we believe some of the Rwandans will have to benefit and also get employment opportunity as much as possible.
I'm already seeing an annual strategy that has been laid here. But before I forget, are there any advancements? Something that I was asked when I told someone that I was going to host you. For example, when someone does a bachelor's, they probably go to a master's and probably go to a PhD. And the more they advance in all those sections, they get more knowledge about a particular something. Are there any advancements that are in vocational training that, not necessarily a bachelor's in something, but to add on their certificates to increase knowledge in a particular skill?
On the stream of TVET or maybe in general education? Yes, actually depends on what you call, what the country needs. So whatever we do, we are not isolated, we are implementing the government vision. So now our mandate since we have been established is try to solve the issue of technical expertise. So we are now, our aim is not just moving to the higher in degree, but getting the right skills, right technicians on the market. So that is the focus for now. And now we have our qualification framework, which goes up to advanced diploma. So that is 3 years at university level in TVET. So probably, who knows, tomorrow, maybe another day we can expand. But our main objective, our main target is up to advanced diploma. And we believe that is the right decision.
Allow me go a little personal. You have kids, right?
Yes.
Would you encourage your son or daughter to do vocational training?
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Why not my son or my...
Very good. Now, I want you to look into the camera
Yes.
and encourage a youth out there, or even, may not be a youth, someone a little bit older, why they should go for technical or vocational training, please.
Thank you. I've been here. It's I think also it's the second time. I remember my last visit here. I was talking to some of the students, and I believe the only reason why you should go to TVET is because you don't have to wait or to apply once you graduate. So you can even start earning during your studies, and also you do what you are passionate. So you don't have to wait advice from someone. And what we believe you should be right now is to start now, think now, and then start taking the right decision right here, right now.
Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
And thank you so much for your questions. And do not forget that you can keep sending in your questions or sending in your comments and sending in any of the suggestions that you want to make. And our Twitter handle is at RTV English, and mine, of course, is at Murime. You can even go to Facebook, still at RTV English. Mine will be Imi M. Kalema. Thank you so much. Keep it at RBA. A lot will be coming your way. I'm Imi Molekatete Kalema. Be well and be blessed.